Welcome, 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 our brilliant and beloved colleague, Rusul. We so appreciate your solidarity and your consistent visionary leadership. And as always at SETC, we begin all things by giving thanks to our creator, to our sustainer. We give thanks to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled on compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Rusul, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Victor. It's a pleasure being here. I have been wanting to join you on this call for a while now, so thank you so much for the invite. My name is Rusul Alrubail. I'm the founder and executive director of Parkdale Centre for Innovation, and I'm really happy to be here today.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you. And same here. It's always a pleasure to connect with you. And yeah, just give thanks for your consistent leadership, all that you do for so many. So my first question, what's inspiring you right now? What has you curious or what's keeping you up at nights?
Wow, that's a big question. You know what? What's keeping me up at night is how to sustain this work. Our community work it's not really easy to do. As not-for-profits, it's oftentimes we work really hard at being sustainable and look at different ways where, we're not reliant on government funding and grants and all of that. And so right now, that's kind of what's keeping me up at night. It's a tough conversation to have, but it's something that is real. People who are on the ground like you and I doing this work, it's not easy. And so oftentimes I'm thinking about, not only how to sustain our work, but where does it lead us to? Where do we go from here? And frankly, also, what impact do we have if our work can't be sustainable? What kind of impact do we hope to achieve with the entrepreneurs that we're supporting? So I know I dove into a really serious topic. But I do want to answer to the topic of what inspires me. I am constantly inspired by the resilience of entrepreneurs that I see and meet every day. It's, again, not easy to start a new business. And so in this landscape, I'm really inspired by folks who paved the way and making a difference and working really hard at overcoming those barriers, even though we shouldn't have to deal with so many barriers to begin with.
Indeed, 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 fam. I couldn't agree more. And that sustainability piece, I think, is something that so many organizations that shouldn't struggle with do. Like your work is absolutely phenomenal and should be resourced and resourced well and resourced consistently. So once again, I really appreciate you raising that because there's so many folks that don't have voice and don't have power to be able to share that insights and speak that truth. So once again, I give thanks. So my next question, do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work you'd like to share with our listeners and our viewers?
Yeah, our key priorities are supporting folks who are organizations who are supporting entrepreneurs. Through Canada Innovates, we are looking at building organizations' capacities. So if you're supporting entrepreneurs but need support with programming, delivery, if you are needing support with connecting them to an inclusive network. So we really focus on supporting these organizations to build their capacity. Yeah, and the other thing that we are focusing on is community building. As odd as it, again, like the sustainability piece is important because we are looking to build or do more community building, but the sustainability of that work is really important. So oftentimes that work, community building, runs on volunteer commitments, and again, that's not sustainable. So I'm looking forward to that, but at the same time, like, what are some of the ways that we could do it where it is sustainable, where people are being paid equitably while doing this really important work that's much needed in our communities.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Thank you so much. So my next question, what is your ultimate goal and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
My ultimate goal, I don't know, Victor, this morning you're hitting me with those hard ones. It's a big thing. I think my ultimate goal If we're talking about like goal in life, that's a different story. But like goal this year, again, that's a different story than, and this is something that we think about. We think about like, what is our goal 3 months out? What is our goal a year from now? As an executive director and a founder of this organization, ultimately, my goal usually, hard to say, I mean, without talking about operations, I think operations is really important part of running a business. And so one of my key goals is often fundraising. And you're in social finance, so you understand that. So fundraising throughout the year, what does that look like? Who are our partners? Who is supporting our work and who's really excited about supporting entrepreneurs, especially from underestimated backgrounds, right? My goal is often every single year is to connect with folks who are like-minded, who prioritize our communities, who are supportive of this work of equity, of inclusion, and who are about this life. They walk the talk. They walk the walk. So that's one of my goals, is to work with folks that are like-minded. It's again, it's not easy finding folks who are always on the same page. Sometimes your values are misaligned, or you find that out like halfway through your partnership, and you have to again do the hard work and have that discussion, have that conversation, because at the end of the day, our focus and our priority for our team, for our organization, is making sure that we're doing this work of inclusion and equity in a really good way. And we are actually being inclusive and equitable ourselves. So being the anchor advocate in that scenario is, again, not an easy part. Not a lot of organizations can tell partners, hey, this is actually not inclusive, because you have a risk of losing your funding or losing that partnership. But we often do this work because, again, that's one of our priorities and our goals.
Indeed. And you do it so well. You and your colleagues have consistently showed up for entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
It's so remarkable. I remember you were sharing a story with me about an entrepreneur that was a newcomer to the country, and the way they engage and the way you provide those wraparound service delivery models. And once again, a lot of folks don't have those supports and don't receive culturally specific and appropriate care, let alone continuity of care. And you have an incredible alumni of leaders that you supported. So once again, I just applaud the work that you and your team do and all that you stand
Thank
for.
you.
Family. So my last question, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers?
Calls to action, closing thoughts. I think you have a lot of organizations that listen to these awesome interviews. So if you are a leader and you are listening to this conversation, I highly encourage you to listen to your community members. Provide that kind of empathetic understanding is really important. If you are an entrepreneur starting a business, look to a network of support, look to folks who are willing to support you beyond, here is an Instagram thing that you can do, someone that's actually going to be an advocate for you and support you along the way. And I think it's on our end, like myself and you, Victor, I think we continue to advocate for this work to in different ways to make it sustainable, for leaders to support this work, because again, our communities need it. Supporting organizations like SETC and Parkdale Centre is at the backbone of social entrepreneurship and social finance, and it supports small businesses. So it's really important.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Thank you so much for all that you do for so many and your consistent visionary leadership. As I said before, since the day we've met, you've always been a trusted and brilliant colleague. I just give thanks for your remarkable leadership. So as always,
Thank you so much, Victor. It's your leadership is just as awesome, and you have done so much for the community yourself. I don't think you get enough gratitude and thanks. So thank you so much for the platform. Thank you for amplifying our voices in our organizations and our work. I really appreciate it, brother.
Ashe, my sister. I give thanks as always. Yo, all praise be to God. I'm grateful to be able to contribute in any way that I can. And as always at SETC, we give thanks to our creator, our sustainer, for this opportunity to come together and build. We give thanks to all the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled, our compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, fam.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Take care.